On EIV News at 6, constitutional or not? The Supreme Court is set to take on President Obama's healthcare bill. Find out when they're expected to make a decision.
Plus, more arrests made in Occupy Wall Street. We'll give you the latest on what's happening in the movement.
Now, from Emerson's leading news team, with the latest in world news and our nation's top stories, EIV News at 6.
Good evening and welcome to EIV News at 6. I'm Kelsey Barrett.
And I'm Joy Powers. Big news coming out of the NBA. Ian Steele is live in studio tonight with more details. Ian?
That's right, Joy. After NBA Commissioner David Stern presented a take-it-or-leave-it labor offer to the NBA Players Association, the Players Union left it. The latest labor offer from the NBA owners has been denied, and plans to disband the Players Union and head to federal court has begun. The players are beginning an antitrust case and are stating that the work stoppage that's been going on since July is illegal. Since then, the NBA formally announced that games through December 15th have been canceled.
Developing story here tonight, the Supreme Court is announcing it will decide the constitutionality of President Obama's healthcare overhaul. The main question to be heard by the court, whether the mandate requiring people to buy health insurance is unconstitutional. The formal arguments will commence in February or March, with a verdict likely to come in June. And more arrests in the Occupy movement, this time where it all began. New York City police forced protesters out of Zuccotti Park, the place seen as the instigator of the national movement. Approximately 200 protesters have been arrested hours after the event. Mayor Bloomberg stood by the actions of the police, citing health and safety concerns as reasons behind the demonstrators' removal.
Another candidate is falling behind in the GOP nomination race. Herman Cain has recently dropped in the polls after sexual harassment allegations were made against him. In his place, Newt Gingrich. Recent polls show the former House Speaker is neck and neck with Mitt Romney. Romney is leading the pack with 24% of votes, Gingrich with 22%, while Cain has dropped all the way to 14%. Meanwhile, the U.S. Debt Supercommittee is running out of time. With the November 23rd deadline approaching, the committee says they're not close to a deficit reduction plan. They have to agree on a plan to reduce the deficit by $1.2 trillion. If they don't make a decision, both defense and domestic programs will face cuts across the board. In other news, President Obama is working to win over young voters. In the 2008 presidential elections, a majority of college students voted for Obama. As unemployment hovers around 9%, young voters are hesitant to re-elect him. Still, Obama is faring better than his GOP opponents. And you know, Kelsey, if there's one thing I love more than the Patriots, it's when the Patriots play the Jets.
Absolutely, Joy. And for more on that, we head back to our Tom Brady lookalike, Ian Steele. Ian?
Kelsey, you're way too kind. Speaking of Tom Brady, on Sunday, the Patriots were in danger of sliding into their first three-game losing streak in 9 years. With the Patriots and the Jets tied for first place in the division, this primetime game would prove division dominance, and we're at the game right now. Here comes Andre Carter sacking Mark Sanchez. He would break a franchise record with 4.5 sacks on the year. Later in the second quarter, Mark Sanchez, looking for Plaxico Burress, is a collision with Devin McCourty and Sterling Moore. McCourty would separate his shoulder. He would be out for the rest of the game. Now we're in the second quarter. Brady is backed up in his own end zone. Here comes Jamal Westerland. He gets a safety for his team. It's 6-2 Patriots. And on the ensuing drive, Mark Sanchez takes the ball himself into the end zone. He makes Vince Wilfork miss. It's a 9-6 lead for the Jets. We go to the end of the first half on 3rd and long, and Brady looks deep for Rob Gronkowski. Eric Smith gets gronked. Brady and Belichick are now the winningest head coach quarterback tandem in NFL history. They passed Dan Marino and Don Shula with 117 wins. And last night, Duke head basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski surpassed former mentor Bob Knight as the winningest head coach in Division I men's basketball history. Krzyzewski got his 903rd win by way of a 74-69 victory over Michigan State. Knight was on hand at Madison Square Garden to watch his record break. And meanwhile, here in Boston, more and more people are going outdoors to exercise. News at 6 reporter Christian Bergen-Aragon took to the Boston Common to find out what they're up to.
With obesity affecting more than 50% of adults and 25% of teenagers, fitness groups from around the nation are looking for new techniques to motivate people. In Boston, a new craze has overtaken public spaces. Gyms and fitness groups have migrated from the traditional indoor facility, hoping to motivate people in the great outdoors.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays begin early for participants of Shelley Devine's Evolve Boot Camp. Evolve was created by Devine 2 years ago as an outdoor workout program with the aim of facilitating both overweight and health-focused Bostonians.
At Evolve Boot Camp, I really try to focus on balance, but half the battle is overcoming what's going on in your mind.
Evolve, like other programs, has revolutionized fitness by utilizing public spaces around Boston. Places like the Public Gardens, Boston Commons, and Jamaica Pond have become the playing ground for all aspects of Divine's self-created workout regimen.
I love the outdoors personally, and living in this city, you're limited with all the buildings around, and I don't have a yard, so I guess coming to work out in an outdoor space is something that's was really appealing to me.
Divine, like many fitness trainers, has a strong belief that being outdoors can stimulate the mind more than any indoor facility can do.
Out here, you have so many options as opposed to being inside a closed gym atmosphere.
Meeting 1 hour, 3 times a week, Evolve focuses on full body workouts, using participants' own body weight, personal strength, and the great outdoors to maximize results. Whether you're interested in burning those extra calories or simply staying fit during the holiday season, the answer is clear. Utilizing Mother Nature as your playground to a healthy lifestyle opens up a whole new world of possibilities. All you have to do is walk outside. For EIV News, I'm Christian Bergen-Aragon.
After the break, a new development in last summer's terrorist attacks in Norway. Find out the ruling a judge is making about the suspect's sanity.
Plus, News at 6 reporter Valerie Adamski investigates a new proposal for HIV testing. Find out what pediatricians want to change right here on EIV News.
Good evening, I'm Erin Farley. Let's take a look at what's happening all across the country. If you're looking for good weather and clear skies, I suggest going west. The New England area is seeing a big storm coming their way. As you can see, the storm is spread out starting in Texas and then moves through Arkansas, Kentucky, and West Virginia. The storm will bring a lot of rain and is expected to keep moving east diagonally, just missing those Carolinas. Now let's look at what's happening in your neighborhood. Currently in Boston, 55 degrees, and big surprise here, raining. Moving over to the 5-day forecast, expect a roller coaster of temperatures as the rain will continue into tomorrow, with temps dropping to the 49 degrees. Friday temperatures will stay in the upper 40s and will say goodbye to the rain with a mostly sunny day. Saturday temps will rise to 55 degrees, and on Sunday the temperatures will rise even more to 62. This is so not our typical weather here in Boston. The sun will go away and clouds will fill the skies. Then on Monday the temperatures will drop back down to upper 40s and the sun will be back. And that's all the weather I have for you. Back to you, Joy. Kelsey?
Federal health care programs are getting a financial boost. As part of the White House's We Can't Wait campaign, President Obama is giving up to $1 billion to doctors, local health care providers, and Medicare programs. Obama says the money will create jobs in the rapidly growing field while lowering the cost of care. The White House expects to see the plan in action after 6 months of funding. In other news, could heart damage be reversed? That's the question doctors in California are trying to answer by using stem cells to regrow living heart tissue in patients with severe heart damage. Some patients show up to 40% improvement to damaged areas. Standard medical practice says the heart is impossible to repair, so doctors are excited about their findings. However, more studies are needed to confirm these results. Meanwhile, a new study is revealing refrigerants can lead to Parkinson's disease. The study showed excessive exposure to a solvent in household items and even breast milk makes someone 6 times more likely to get Parkinson's. 2 other solvents found mostly in dry cleaning supplies may also lead to the disease. Scientists have yet to come up with a way to prevent this problem. And more people are hearing less. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans suffer from hearing loss. Although doctors believed this issue affected 21 to 29 million Americans, statistics say it's closer to 48 million. Doctors are concerned as studies show hearing loss may be associated with memory loss. Doctors suggest taking care of the problem instead of ignoring it. Meanwhile, doctors are calling for a new way to prevent teens from spreading HIV.
News at 6 reporter Valerie Adamski went to Tufts Medical Center to find out more.
For the past 30 years, a positive HIV test has changed millions of lives around the world. Today, U.S. doctors are encouraging teens 16 to 18 to get tested, regardless of their sexual history, to prevent its spread.
Doctors hope to prevent the spread of HIV by starting tests earlier, according to an article by the American Academy of Pediatrics. They recommend that teens who live in areas that have an HIV positive population of 0.1% or higher get tested annually.
Is that by the age of 16 to 18, they recommend that an HIV test be done routinely. But particularly in that population where the numbers are higher, I think for most of us, our populations have lower rates of HIV infection, and so we do tend to screen based on sexual history.
The screening for HIV can be as simple as a saliva test, but after a positive test, blood work must be done to ensure that the first test was accurate. While this may seem routine, consent forms must be completed in Massachusetts for an HIV test to be performed. Some find this dated since HIV is becoming easier to treat when it's caught in its early stages.
I think it should be mainstreamed and considered no different. You know, the societal attitudes toward HIV have changed considerably, and I don't think this same stigma exists that it did 20 years ago.
As HIV testing and prevention evolve, doctors hope to erase the taboo surrounding the virus so patients are comfortable asking questions and taking precautions to ensure that they are HIV-free. For EIV News at 6, I'm Valerie Adamski.
The man accused of this summer's terror attacks in Norway has been declared sane. A district court judge is putting Anders Behring Breivik in custody for another 12 weeks. Breivik is accused of the Oslo bombing as well as shooting at a nearby Labour Party youth camp. 77 people were killed, including over 60 young people. Breivik is pleading not guilty, but admits to carrying out the attacks. The judge says there is no reason to doubt his sanity. In other news, at least 69 people have been killed in Syria this week, the latest after clashes between army deserters and troops of President Bashar al-Assad. The recent military crackdown on protesters has been condemned by the international community. The Arab League is suspending Syria's membership in response to the government's actions. Meanwhile, a deadly blast has rocked Iran. 17 people were killed in a military base explosion Saturday outside of the capital of Tehran. The blast was triggered by a munitions depot that caught fire. After recent speculation regarding Iran's nuclear capabilities, many outsiders were nervous the explosion was caught by nuclear weapons. The blast did not affect any residential areas.
Some good news in Japan's nuclear crisis. Experts say mountains hindered the spread of the Fukushima plant's nuclear fallout. Scientists put together a map of radioactive contamination across Japan from the disaster aftermath. According to the map, there are high levels of radioactive molecules in eastern and northeastern regions, but far lower levels in the western part of the country because of the mountains. And a proposal made in captivity will finally be fulfilled.
According to a family member, American hikers Shane Bauer and Sarah Short will be getting married.
The pair was arrested by the Iranian soldiers in July 2009 while hiking the Iraq-Iran border. Shane and Sarah say they will be getting married in San Francisco in May.
And that's all we have for tonight, but make sure you check us out online at EIV TV and EIVnews.com.
And quickly, a very happy birthday to our director, Aaron Mulligan, from the entire EIV News team. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night.
This has been a presentation of EIV News and Emerson Independent Video. For more, visit us online at EIVnews.com.